Ooh,
Yeah.
let's do this. I said, let's do it. I said, let's do this.
Yeah.
Episode 8. Here we
Yeah.
go. I'm
Let's
about to get my
go.
coffee.
Oh, here we go. Hey.
Create sin.
Create dopamine.
Create sin.
Create dopamine.
Create sin.
Create dopamine.
Create
I said
sin.
create dopamine.
Be another mother. Patio. Hey.
Another mother. Patio.
Be another
Hey.
mother. Patio. Hey.
Another mother. Patio. Here
Here
we
we
go.
go. Here we go to the mother freaking show. Here we go to the mother freaking show. Get your coffee. Get your tea. But I'm getting a white Russian right now.
I know that's right. I am so behind. I need to be all in the game. If anyone should be having something like that, it should be me slipping in my pimping.
You know the past 2 days I didn't have. You hear me?
Slipping in my pimping.
What's up, guys? I'm Lisa Renee.
Aunt Wild.
AKA Aunt Wee.
Like,
but I've been calling my boy Ace for too many years, so y'all may hear me reference Ace, but y'all
listen,
call him Aunt Wow. Get it right.
Yeah, I mean, listen, yeah,
get it right.
I told her we had a conversation about that. Oh, I mean, yeah, it's Aunt Wow, but man, if you don't, you almost had me cussing. You call me Ace, just do roll. They know it. Y'all know what it is. It's Aunt Wild. She calls me Ace. Game on.
Period. Did y'all see him on the Newlywed Game? If y'all have not watched our comedy skit with the Newlywed Game, if you want to be in stitches, every one of us are buffoons. It's hard for me to tell you who to pay attention to in the video because every one of us, and my boyfriend is not a comedian, far from it, don't even want to be a part of these skits. But he was even funny. He got
he was funny
on Instagram. Somebody
he was like, funny.
The sleeping had me. So you guys check out the Newlywed
That
Game.
is funny. That one's funny.
It is. I mean, we all need to laugh, right? So check that out. Share that. And it's seeming like you guys are liking that. So we'll keep those skits definitely coming.
That one's funny.
Yeah, definitely, guys. So it has been a hectic 2 days for me in aviation. As much as I feel like I have one of the best jobs in the world, it is very trying. It's been just crazy for the past 48 hours. So normally I would have my coffee and my tea, but I'm starting my morning with a white Russian. Do not judge me.
Hey, listen, dog. Listen, I am so out of bounds right now. I so need you lucky. I want to almost press pause to go get me one.
I'm so hungry now. Now. Hi, with these soggy ass fries.
Hey, man. Hey,
I need y'all to do better with these soggy ass fries. Girl, I'm hungry. I'm gonna eat it though.
Hey, listen, because she's been over there eating them fries, and I can tell through the screen they is not tasting good. The whole way you're eating it, the way she was eating the burger, it was just like, this is not.
It's not.
It's not tasting good, but I gotta eat something. I've been flying all day. Like, but this burger is not good.
It's not, but this vegan burger is good. Excuse me, y'all.
Them fries show didn't look. Hey, every time she's been taking a bite of them fries, they have not looked tasty.
We're not gonna eat that anymore. Not the fries, but that vegan burger that Hyatt has is really, really good. And as a flight attendant, unfortunately, it's breakfast time, but we eat when we can. So at breakfast, we might eat lunch. Lunch, we might eat dinner. Dinner, we might eat breakfast.
Hey, man.
We do what we got to do. But anyway, let's start out with our quote. Did you want to start with the quote?
Listen. The quote of the day is life is a succession of lessons which must be lived to be understood.
Speak on that, though. Talk to them.
Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote that. Life is a succession of lessons which must be lived to be understood. How better can you give a perspective on a situation? It's so much better when you can personally step in the shoes of it. You know what I'm saying? Like people will seek you out for a certain reason. Everybody's been sought out for a specific reason, regardless what it is. Right? Hey, listen,
Right.
I'm having this issue going on here. I'll come talk to you because I know you went through what,
Mm.
you know what I'm saying? Any game you got as you eat them nasty fries, any
That's the
game.
burger. That vegan
Oh,
burger
is
is
that the
good.
burger? Oh, I didn't know if those. Oh, yeah. Oh,
Avocado
no,
on
yeah,
there.
you gave it a shimmy. You weren't giving the fries no shimmy.
Not them soggy ass fries. No vegan burger. Hyatt. That's my beautiful.
Uh,
I love Hyatt.
um, they come to you to ask you those, hey man, look, hey, you've went through this. He or she, baby girl or brother, you went through this. This is what's happening with me. That's why they come to you.
Mm.
We've all went to someone. So that's why when people, you know what, I just feel is missing it. Hey, listen, I could be wrong, but I'm living in the world like everybody else. There's like everything has an angle. Like, where's just the game? Like, you know what I'm saying? Just as living with just being amongst people. Like, I shouldn't always have to go, like, you remember like everybody got that story when they were sitting at a bus stop or something and an
Mm-hmm.
old cat or somebody rolled by and you just was talking to them for like 20 minutes or 15 minutes or maybe even 10 minutes, 7 minutes.
Ooh,
But that
I
that
got a crunchy
conversation was
fry.
very
I got
huh?
a crunchy fry. It wasn't soggy. You get a
You
crunch?
got a fry that wasn't soggy?
Yeah, it's crunchy. Oh, you eat another one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. We are on one this morning, y'all.
Listen, listen, listen. It couldn't be no better.
Early, too early.
Hey, it couldn't be no better. This is where we supposed to. Hey, this is where
I'm
we supposed to be.
I'm sorry,
You
I
understand?
interrupted you. Let me go. Let me pay attention to our feedback
Now,
we
yeah.
got.
After that, now I'm gonna go back to the quote of the day. Yeah, get back to the quote of the day.
Where headlines meet humor. Here we go. And
Get
y'all
back to the
so
quote of the day.
silly. You
Yeah,
just so
I know I was
tired.
just
You
dancing
laugh
to
at
these
anything.
fries. But
We are
going back
so
to the quote of the
tired.
day.
We can laugh at anything right now, y'all. So laugh.
Going
I
back
know
to the
y'all done
quote of
had
the
that
day.
moment.
Going back to the quote of the day.
Okay.
So anyway, that was that.
We are.
uh, Ralph Waldo Emerson. I will say this: Ralph Waldo Emerson was one of the cats who was he believed in, like, what was that? What was it that he had a his belief system was like, there was one principle of it which was called individualism. I can't think of the name, like the
Mhm,
transcendent something like that. But
mhm,
I just wanted to touch on, there was one portion of, like, they display certain behaviors or characteristics or whatever, and one of them
mhm.
was individualism. And if you listen to that, it sounds a certain way, but individualism is actually a collective word, meaning believe in yourself and your instincts and the good nature of things, and pay attention to that, and don't let the world tell you what to feel like. It was that's what that version of individualism means. That burger.
I'm sorry. Y'all see how thick that vegan burger
That
is?
burger is thick.
Hyatt, this is,
Pause.
see, if you're going to give people who don't eat, I'm sorry to mess up the quote of the day, but if you're going to give people meat, it's got to be thick. Look how thick, guys, that meat is from Hyatt. When I tell y'all better get that vegan burger, they better start calling this the Lisa vegan burger. I'm so sorry. Keep going. It
That's
just
it.
took us 10 minutes
So
and we ain't
Ralph
even got
Waldo
it's so good.
Ralph Waldo Emerson. Yeah, get back to that. What was the old white man about? Like, yeah, get back to that as I eat these burgers and these soggy dang fries.
But here's the thing, what I think about that too is that when I hear that quote, life is a succession of lessons which must be lived to be understood, is that really it's quick in our society right now, and you kind of touched on this a little bit. we often want to give advice, but if you haven't lived it, I'm gonna need you to shut the fuck up. How about
Yeah,
that?
no,
Y'all about to make my wig come off. I need y'all to shut
hey,
the fuck up.
hey,
Okay.
yeah, no,
Like
yeah,
that's what that quote means to me. So I think when you
I
want
could dig that.
advice on things, you have to live it to truly understand it. And we quickly want to judge people from the outside looking in. But if you don't really understand it and you've never lived it, you can't really speak on it.
True.
That's all I'm
True.
saying.
And I'm gonna just add one more caveat to that as well, because everything you said was true to the 10th power. I'm gonna add one more caveat on that. Also, even if we are experiencing similar life experiences,
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense. Even if we are experiencing similar life experiences, if you make certain decisions on how you deal with your experiences that don't align with how I move, don't be coming trying to tell me about advice about what I'm doing when you
Mm,
don't make those decisions.
that's true. That's true.
If you choose to live in a way that I'm like, nah, I'm really cool on that,
Right.
and there's a little too much, dysfunction in that. There's just a whole lot of bickering, and I don't like. I ain't in those situations with that. Like
Right.
I ain't doing none of that. I ain't doing all that.
Right.
So if you make certain decisions in your situation that lead you down that road, don't then try and come advise me about my road, especially
Absolutely.
unsolicited, because you're not making the same decisions I would make about the road I'm traveling.
Absolutely. I
So
couldn't agree with you anymore.
cut out.
And if you are going to give advice, you need to speak that, hey, I know I'm not living that, but this is just kind of how I feel. Because then you're coming from a compassionate perspective. And anytime
Yep.
you come from a compassion, people can understand that. They understand if you're coming, I'm not living this, but this is kind of how I feel. You know what I mean? Like for instance, I've been married before, right? And let's just say my best friend's been married for a long time, but let's just say she talked to me about her marriage. And I may say, hey, I know I'm not married now, but when I was married, boom, 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 boom. You understand
Right.
what I'm saying? So if you're going
Right.
to give advice, again, you have to live it to understand. I have been married, so I can speak on that. But also, when you've been single for a period of time, you're not in that married zone anymore. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of times
True.
divorced people, we think we're still in that zone, and you have to be like, no, you're not still in that zone because you
Yeah.
actually gave up. You understand? So the
Yeah.
people that are continue to go on, those are two separate people, and you have to respect that. So that's really good stuff, guys. So we're going to get to our health segment. So you guys know I've been doing Noom. So because I'm doing Noom, and because the
I'm doing
Hyatt
new,
gives this
new.
outrageous
I'm doing the
huge
new app.
vegan burger, I'm going to eat a portion of it and I'm going to put the rest to the side. Thank you, Noom. Because I mean, it's so big, you don't really need any more. And I'm gonna have a little bit of more of this, and then I'm gonna be done with it. I know some of y'all be like, Lisa, please don't waste that white Russian. I
Don't waste the
I'm
white
just gonna put it in
Russian
the
now.
refrigerator for another day, but I'm only gonna drink a little bit. It's all about portion control, and we're gonna talk about that as we go into that. So I don't know if you saw it, Ace, or if you guys saw Irv Gotti's brother went online and he talked about how Irv died. And so Irv was basically in the mindset that I'm going to go out the way that I'm going to go out, which
Mm, yeah.
is a very egotistic, prideful way to think. Just speaking, that's just very prideful and egotistic. And it's kind of almost a little selfish too, because you're not thinking about the impact in what you do and how it impacts others, right? So the
Right.
reason why I put this down is because I know if something happens to me, I'm not going to just hurt me. I'm going to hurt Ace. I'm going to hurt my son, my mother, my boyfriend, and so many people who love me. So when we know that we have a medical challenge, we have to fight our addictions as hard as we can so
Yeah.
that we can get to the root of it, so that we can be here for our loved ones as long as we possibly can. So basically, Irv, and listen, Chinese people, I love y'all. I think I was Asian in another lifestyle, so don't get me wrong on this, but we got to watch out for that Chinese food. He was
Man.
eating Chinese food, drinking, playing poker, according to his brother. If
Yeah,
I'm
I
quoting
saw
anything
that.
wrong, I do apologize, but this is what I remember from his interview. And while he was eating the Chinese food, he ended up hemorrhaging from the brain. He had a
Yeah,
stroke,
yeah.
right? If we know there's a lot of MSG in Chinese food, I know now they try to do it without the MSG, but then you got soy sauce too as well. That's why it's good to go for the green one, which is the low sodium one. Or if
Mm-hmm.
you're going to use the red top, and I'm talking about like when you go in an Asian restaurant, you see the two soy sauces, right, Ace? They got the green one sometimes or the red one. Ask for the green one. That's the low sodium one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying have Chinese food, but kind of like I did with this burger, guys, we got to do it in we cannot eat overly processed stuff, too much of that stuff, because it's not good for us. And so if his brother was correct, because he had that mentality, he continued to do the bad behaviors that got him into the place of having diabetes. So I want to come at you guys today with you guys a living proof. Y'all probably like, I know she gonna drink it all. I'm gonna do it live with you guys. I'm not gonna. I'm there. Listen, I'm gonna get a couple more sips now. I'm gonna get a couple more sips, and then I'm gonna go get some water. Because I don't want to be a hypocrite. I do want to speak for what I'm actually doing myself right now, which is trying to cut this COVID weight. I've been living my best fit girl life, COVID-licious life. Y'all, listen, this weight has been on me since COVID, and ask me, have I thought one sick about it? Nope, I haven't. Because let me tell you why. I've been booking parts. I've been falling in love, dating like crazy. So I guess when your life hasn't changed or nothing has changed, you didn't. But then one morning I woke up in that hip. I say I couldn't get up because my hip. I said I couldn't. I said, Jesus, my hip.
Jesus, Lord,
And and
Lord.
my job was like, do you need to take leave? I said, no, I just need to lose some weight. So them joints, they start to hurt you, and that's what made me think, okay, let me stop living my best life and get myself together, because now it's starting to, because if you guys can't tell, for people that know, I'm a very short petite girl. So after a while it does start to bother your joints. And then I think too, becoming a flight attendant, that's a very physical job. And so carrying these bags from this gate to that gate and this gate and that gate, it starts to wear on you. So I'm just going to say, with our first health lesson, guys, we got to watch our proportion. You got to pull back on the Chinese food just a little bit. I know excuse me, I know
It
the wings be
is
good.
so good.
Lo mein, I know. Lo
It's so
mein.
good.
Lo mein.
It is so good.
I know.
It's so good. To be honest, the only reason I had to cut back on Chinese food is because all of the places that I used to go, and I'm not going to even name no names because I ain't trying to shame nobody, but
Right.
there was a few places that we used to go to, and after a while, I don't know if it's the MSG, the last one remained, and it was the last one strong. Like I had to cut out, like, I mean, it was a weed thing too. We had to cut out, like, it started affecting me first. Then it started affecting her. You know what I mean? It was just after me, but like there was a few places oh my God, I think about it now. It's so good. But like that last time I went, you know what I mean? Things just that, nobody was together. Everything was, everybody was doing their own thing. And that's not how you want to be, releasing yourself. You want everybody to be together, good and strong. Let's make this exit. Let's get out of here.
Right. Right. You get back
You don't
ready.
want them coming out all everybody doing their own thing. Nah. Hey, listen, that is about as real and PG as I can get, YouTube. I'm sorry. Now, I didn't say a cuss word or nothing. I was just very descriptive, and that's
Lord
what it
help
is.
us.
Everything ain't all together. Hey, listen. So it was everybody. I can't. We need to be all in together now. We need to be solid. Let's go on there. Let's make this exit.
I do apologize to any
Pause.
kids, but
Pause.
he gave it as PG
But
as he could have.
that was the reason. So in that, obviously there are benefits, right? Because I am the cat. I would eat Chinese food every day, but you can't. It's great. It's like soul food. You can't eat soul food every day, but ask me, am I ever gonna give it up? No, but I mean, you can't eat it every day. It's
Yeah.
my favorite food, but you can't eat it
Right.
every day. I'm with you on the Asian in another life, especially when it comes to food, because man, I'm trying
Yeah.
to told you, I'm always down for the smoke.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, no, I mean I saw that too, all that information, and
Yeah.
just
Very
I mean
sad.
that's a heck of a decision, like that's a heck of a decision. You like, man, bump it. If it's 54, it's 54, but I don't want to be. And that's a decision. I don't even judge the decision, to be honest with you. That's not quite the decision I would make, but that doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm not. Just RIP. Like
Yeah.
that's
And
a heck
I,
of a decision because at the end of the day, you had to do one thing or the other. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, I don't know if I've said
yeah.
it on this show, but I will, and I will drop his name. My main man, Dennis Smith, big old Asian cat. Like Dennis was like, Dennis was, Dennis was at some real rough points in life where he had to make some real life decisions.
Yeah.
And I mean, he made them. Like Dennis at his heaviest was probably close to 5. Last time Dennis
Mm.
posted something on Facebook, all natural, no nothing, no surgery, just real live
Yeah.
grit and decision making in life.
Right.
And he was like 278 the last time. So
Wow.
we just gotta. It's just about a decision. You know what I'm saying? It's just about it. Like, yeah, look, see, yeah, this is great. This is great. Yeah, no, this is great. Just don't say nothing when I do it. That's all I'm saying. This is wonderful. You see, I ain't saying nothing. This is my
You
this is
were
my
talking.
wheelhouse. This
So
is
while
my
he was
wheelhouse. Let's
talking,
keep it. We
I
can
wanted
keep
to
it
stick to
just
my
like
goal and get
this.
some
We can
water.
get all up out of frame. We can just do our thing. Yeah, don't threaten me with a good time. This is wonderful.
No, I wanted to stick to what I, because if I didn't get it out for
Nah,
you,
go
that's
and get you some water. Nah,
but
listen.
here's the thing. Out of sight, out of mind. You keep, if you're battling something, get it out of your way until you can gain some control. So that's what y'all saw me doing, moving quickly, getting the drink out of my way and getting my hydration, especially because I have to fly tomorrow. And with flying, the one thing I can tell you, drink water or you will cramp up bad. So very good things that he actually said. And I agree everything that Aunt Wow said. We just, the beautiful thing about his brother talking about it, he's helping us. I feel like Irv, I'm sure Irv never thought I was going to be a health guru for everybody, but I truly believe his death has made many of us start taking our health seriously. I really do.
54 ain't that old.
I know.
It's not that old. You know what I mean? You've had a chance to live 54. And hey, listen, man, again, as we've said in
Yeah.
a whole nother show that we had, dedicated to him. Like, you lived to, you made your mark on this world in your 54 years. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And maybe that was his decision, like, because he did. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I mean, regardless, again, don't matter what side you fall on, you can't, you know, Irv is still relevant to the point where it was big news that he passed, and he hasn't been behind a number one hit in I don't know what, almost 20 years, 15 years, right? Like,
Yeah.
not that we know of in front like he was, and I don't mean that as no diss. I actually mean that as a credit. He's
Right.
always managed to stay in the mix. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I saw Irv at Newport Beach one time when Nas was doing like a show up, and he had walked by me, and when he had walked by me, he it was just kind of like we had made eye contact, and I just reached out to him, and I was just like, "Hey, man," I said, "Hey." Pretty much what I've been saying on the show. I say, hey man, regardless of what anybody says, I said, you one of the most impactful people out here. And he just turned around and I was like, I'm just saying. He was like, y'all almost said it, and gave me a little dap, and that was it. And that was my Irv interaction in life. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
Like, it literally went down like that, no more, no less.
Right.
It was literally that. My gave me a
My
little dab. He
Nilly.
went
My
on, and
Nilly.
that
There
was
you
that
go.
was peace. That was it.
My
I was
Nilly.
brotherhood exchange. All right, then I see you, good looking, gone. So
Right. Right.
just a heck of a decision. That's why I say we talk about decisions, right? Like, that was a decision because he knew what was going on. You make a decision. I don't want to do that. Like,
Mm,
maybe you just never know, man. Like, maybe, who knows? Maybe he was past the point where he thought he was going to be able to reverse it, and he,
yeah. Yeah.
that you just never know. Just being around, loved ones who life has completely altered. It's so, just shouts out, and
Yeah.
that's a heck of a decision. I
Yeah.
don't judge it at all. I get it actually. So that's that. Moving on, Halle Berry. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna
I
tell you
think I
why
should
I'm
take
bringing
this
this
one.
up. This
I
is
think
something
I should
Lisa should
take
be
this
bringing
one.
up.
Yeah, I think you should let me
No,
talk
go. No,
about
you bring it
menopause.
up. But I just got something to say about Halle Berry. Go on, you bring it up.
So, and the reason why it goes back to our quote, life is a session of lessons which you must live to be understood. So, Halle Berry, if anybody did
Perfect
not see,
segue.
she just spoke on something very personal. She talked about her uh the JJ. I hope this is not going to impact monetization. Basically, after her and Van had, fun, um, just she couldn't go to the bathroom for about 10 minutes. Took her like 10 minutes. And she went to the doctor, and the doctor said that she had the H word. And her and Vans were like going back, like, who could we have got it from? Because you had got it from this person, I got it that person. And then the doctor's like, oh no, you don't have that. So can you imagine the stress they were under for the hours of this doctor telling them the wrong thing? But anyway, she came to find out that she was having the dryness because she is perimenopause. I, poor men. All the men that are watching this is probably making the same face. That's why I told you, let me take this.
Oh, if I was looking a certain way, I probably was looking a certain way now that you
Right,
say that.
right. So
I
that's why I
probably
said, let
was.
me
I
take
can't
it.
lie.
Yeah,
I
let me
probably
take it.
was.
So obviously having that dryness, there's signs like if you're having your fun, and you're in a lot of pain, that could be one of the signs. But what I wanted to talk about this for women, if you are in perimenopause, if you're noticing that you're having mood swings, and obviously weight gain is another thing, or the dryness and stuff, don't feel like you're crazy. These are some of the symptoms that Holly is trying to let people know. But she does have a supplement, and that's what people are not talking about. She has this new supplement called Metabolic Daily. Metabolic Daily has too many benefits. I can't even, I think she's like the chairman. And then there's this other woman that is kind of like over the supplement. But I would encourage you guys to look into her supplement, Metabolic Daily, because if Holly put her stamp on it, Holly just doesn't do things. We've seen her over the years. She speaks or she supports things, excuse me, that she really believes in, and things that she really uses, and things that she does. Like, we know she's been a diabetic and she has to watch her glucose. So she also has a supplement around glucose that's kind of like the GLP-1 a little bit. She has something around that where it will, regulate your sugar. So check out that supplement, so women, we don't have to suffer and be uncomfortable, and not to also feel that you are crazy too as well. We are women, we have these hormones, and our bodies go through these different things. Actually, one of the reasons why I stopped eating meat, to be very honest, a woman had told me, I used to be a candy striper. I would work in Newport when I started out in the medical field. I don't know if a lot of people knew that I started out in the medical field. And someone had told me cutting back on meat will make your menopause go smooth. I always loved animals too, so that bothered me too, eating animals and things like that too as well. But she told me, if you can pull back from meat, and I don't know if this is true or not, um, you won't have the night sweats and all that. And I don't have night sweats and things like that, but I do eat some fish now. But she told me that many years ago, and that stayed with me, and I made sure that I didn't do that. And for the most part, and I'm very strict like this with business, but for the most part, my mood is pretty like this for the most part. So I thank God that that lady gave me that advice. So I'm giving this advice to my people that watch me: get on these supplements, do the things you need to do for your health so that you don't be in this discomfort and pain that some older women are feeling. So, with that said, Ace, I will give it to you. I'm sure you probably want to say nothing on that topic, but you're a guy, and men need to understand this.
No, listen,
But they're
yeah, no,
women, you need
yeah,
to understand it.
yeah. Look, men, whether you know it or not, you're gonna want to know. You're gonna want to know. You're gonna want to know. It's unavoidable if you want to maintain a certain relationship as your significant other is going through this phase.
Good.
So you do
Patient.
you're gonna want to be armed with knowledge. You're gonna have to just be armed. Somebody, I know, I sent that link when I was going through this. I sent the link to someone just who's going through it, and I was just like, I don't know if this will be useful or not, but I just sent it to, what I'm saying, sent it to her as I was going through it. And that's the only reason I really wanted to say what I have to say, because now I'm remembering the link that I sent, and it was just Holly. She was on like whatever, Good Morning America,
Yeah.
58 years old. Now I'm like, hey, man, listen here. I mean, she's 58, right? But even still, like when she was talking, Holly, hey, listen here, man. Holly is still a factor around here, dog. Let me just tell you, hey,
Right.
hey,
Right.
Holly's still a factor around here in a whole bunch of ways. You understand me? Like Holly's still, hey, man, she's 58, right? She ain't 38, she ain't 28. We all know what Holly was. But all I'm saying is the 58-year-old version of her, you know, it fell in line. Let's say it like that. She's still in line. She ain't too far from what it once was. It ain't what it once was, but she is a 58-year-old version of that, and she is, man, stop it. Holly's still in the game.
And the one thing she doesn't do,
She's still in the game. Let's keep it up. Now, wow.
and while we talk about health, we know she doesn't really do sugar that much, right? So
Hey,
when you don't do sugar, she's a prime example of what your body
whew,
will look like when you
whatever she's
don't.
doing, continue to
Right.
do
And
it.
obviously she has to because she's diabetic and she'll tell you that, like, I have to do it. But at the same token, do look at her to know that when you do drop sugar, what your skin could look like, what your body could look like. But it's unfortunate that, she has diabetes and she has to be like that. So thank you, Holly, for continuing to press women issues. You're not just an amazing actress, but you're advocating and speaking on things that a lot of people don't speak about. And so we do appreciate that. So let's break into some presidential news. So the Trump administration, federal workers were given 15 minutes to pack their bags and leave. Also, there was an accountability email that went out. And what that basically mean, if you guys don't know, is that, hey, what did you do for the week? They want to see that people are adding value, which is causing a lot of people obviously to be just stressed out. However, accountability talks happen more often um, in corporations. It's a very normal thing. However, the way they're going about it is probably definitely a different procedure that people are used to. But let me actually read. There was breaking news. I think I sent it to you too, Ace. It was a
You
breaking
did.
news. Let me see if I can see. Yeah, breaking news. A federal judge has found that the mass firings of federal probationary employees were likely unlawful, granting some temporary relief to a coalition of labor unions and organizations that sued to stop the Trump administration massive trimming of the federal workforce. So, some people who lost their jobs, it's looking like that should not have happened.
I,
Yeah. Look like that should not have happened.
the regime is in full swing, you guys. Um, the regime is in full swing, y'all. Like he that you were given 15 minutes to pack your bags and leave.
Yeah.
And here's the hard part about this. The hard part about it is I don't want to sound like I told you so, because that is not my point. That is
Right.
not. I mean, obviously, that's an implication, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's
Right.
just keep it a thou wow. Obviously, it's an implication. I can't lie about that. But it is important to be knowledgeable about what it is you are advocating, because this what you're the people who work for the federal government were just everything changes right now in the safest place you're supposed to be. My father, Charles Wilder Sr., was a federal employee because he was in the military. Mm-hmm. And when he retired from the military, he went back to work as a civilian for the military. 3 places you should never get fired in this order: city, state, federal. Meaning, if you ever got fired from them places, you were so secure in your job. My dad used to tell me, you have to work to get fired. Like anytime we hear somebody getting fired from one of those entities, he'd be like, you have to work to get fired. Right. Because there's so much, benefit that you get. Why do you think people take the road to go work for the federal government? The United States federal government. You are literally all I can say is this, because this doesn't matter where you lie, because I really don't care if you listen to what I'm saying. I'm just talking shop. And it just happens to be against a lot of the crapola that gets pulled. And that's that. And in that state, it's this. You are literally throwing to the wayside the people who are responsible for the structure that you're in. Let me say that again. You are literally throwing to the wayside the people who are responsible for the structure that you're in. All these people that you are firing are responsible for the structure you're in. You use that structure to get into that place. And now you are blatantly saying what you've been saying. I got to give you that. Yeah. But like, it wasn't this stuff. Like, if you don't think the federal government or whatever this is, whatever this move is whatever the move is that you're doing, right? If you think that it needs to be rehabilitated, which is probably very possible, that's one thing. Then go in and rehabilitate it.
Which is fair. Yeah.
Go rehabilitate it. That doesn't mean you kick everybody. That means, hey, look, new sheriff in town, just like we all get in. New sheriff in town. We ain't doing this. Yeah. So a year from now, if these things aren't met, y'all are gone, right? Or if you are going to let them go on the spot, do it just like anybody else would do it. Like the federal government is the place where you would get the sweetest let go. In a private corporation, they let you go. If they're going to let you go, something like this, they're doing cuts, whatever it is. I was a part of this. Yeah. You have a couple decisions you can make. You can either stay with the company in this, or you might have to just take the severance if you don't want these options, X, Y, and Z. Like that's what happens in worlds that are nowhere near the federal government's world. Right. So even if this was the plan, that at least should have happened. Like this here is a form of a word I don't want to say because I know we're going to get flagged, but it starts with a T. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah. Because now I, as a citizen, am worried. I ain't worried about outside forces. I'm worried about inside forces. Right. Like I ain't got to worry. You're supposed to be protecting us. I'm from a family who served here, player. You never did. You know what I'm saying? We are responsible for the structure that you're in. So when I'm coming to holler at you in the way that I'm hollering now, I'm hollering as an American. I'm hollering on some American stuff. We preserve us in this thing. If there's immigration that needs to be dealt with, do that in a way that still strengthens us. It's like you're trying to weaken us by things that you're doing. Who does that benefit? In the meantime, you might come up with a couple policies that may benefit. There's always going to be a policy that benefits a certain faction, but this is to all people. This is to everybody, black, wherever you lie. I promise you, you're not nearly part of the end plan as you think you are.
Yeah.
That's it. It's everyone. This is not a black thing. This is literally all why we all out here. Because whoever listen might go on Facebook, be like Aunt Wild, Beyond, whatever. You can say what you want. It doesn't include you either. So we just need to be mindful of that. And this is me talking based on what's happening. All we doing is talking about what's happening. All I'm doing is observing and paying attention. I ain't coming up with no cockamamie. Aunt Wild, why do you think that? Let me tell you something. Federal workers were given 15 minutes to pack their bags. There was an accountability email that was sent over to 100,000 employees asking them the 5 things that they're good at, and trying to find ways to get rid of people. It's like martial law on the federal government employees. That's what's happening. Call me what you want to. That's what's happening. And as a result, I'm seeing what's happening and I have opinions about it. Right. If you agree or disagree, that's one thing. But we got to stop all this. Like, these aren't happening. Hidden in plain sight. What is it that we're missing?
But can I interject too, Ace?
Sure.
The thing too as well, I have just wondered as I see people mock these federal government employees, what have we come to? I mean, nobody should want to see a mother or father, a student, anybody out of work. People got to eat, people got to pay their bills. Despite people's political views, at the end of the day, we are human. And we really are losing sight of that. And there's been a lot of mockery going around, you know, and I'm just like, wow, I'm just blown away. I'm really just blown away.
And the that's what I got to say about that.
No, absolutely. Also, the Trump administration is asking if you are an undocumented citizen, turn yourself in. Yeah, or go or leave. You know, that would be my other thing. Just go on back. You know, don't even have to put yourself through that humiliation and shame. Just do what you got to do and leave on your own accord versus somebody else making that decision for you.
Yep.
Unfortunately.
Second that.
No, seriously.
That.
Seriously. Guys, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, nothing. I was just gonna say more of what I've already said. So no.
All right. Yeah. No. So guys, we lost Roberta Flack. If you don't know Roberta Flack, she had songs like Feel Like Making Love. The first time I ever saw your face, Killing Me Softly was probably a very, very big one. I know Lauryn Hill redone that over. So that was, and that's just a few of her hits. I mean, she had so many hits, but those were the 3 that came to me. Love Roberta Flack. And then we also lost Michelle Trachtenberg. She was from the Gossip Girl and Buffy the Vampire Slayer, 39 years old. She had I guess a liver transplant or something done about 8 or 9 months ago. And people were talking about her online. Same thing happened with Chad. They were talking about the frailness of how she looked. And that's why you got to be careful. You just never know what people are going through. And everybody doesn't want to share their illness. And we have to respect that. So 39 is just very young. And but the one I really want to talk about, and you know, I'll pass this over to Ace after this, is Gene Hackman, who we found out lost his life, as well as his wife lost her life, as well as a dog. But there was 2 other dogs there. And many people were like, "Oh, it's carbon monoxide." But I said, "Nah, this don't sound right." Like it just first of all, Gene Hackman to me seems too wise and too smart to have a house that would have carbon monoxide. So when I heard that, I was like, I'm not buying that. There's something not right with this. And sure enough, pills was found on the floor. The door was left unopened. And now they're saying it is very suspicious. Like something else is happening right now with that.
Yeah. I just want to touch on, because you brought it up, Lauryn Hill.
Yes.
Softly. Oh my
God.
God.
Absolutely.
And it made me go listen to the original. And Roberta Flack is killing that. The Feel Like Making Love song, because you know you got to go revisit, and it's like, oh my God. Right. It just took me, you know what? It took me, I'm glad I went here real quick. It took me those that of us, who are privileged enough to be born in a certain time really got a good dose of the world. It was coming from one place and then emerging into all the stuff that is the foundation of what we have today. Like it was a very interesting time to be looking back on it, like in the history of the world, like at the time that we were kids, the way the world was changing at such a rapid rate was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that to say Roberta Flack, like these songs are from that era where it's that 70s era, that mid 70s era, that that like think about how untapped the in perspective with today, like think about how untapped the world was. And I think that's why we got music the way we did. There just weren't as many signals out here,
Yeah.
so we were being humans, so we were tapped into the universe. We
Yeah.
got signals now that we shovel that energy to, just like we're doing literally as we speak. But back then we were so you had to be on the vibes, brother. You had to, that's why we got the music we were tapped into that frequency,
Yeah.
because that was the frequency that was dominating. Like think of how untapped in now the potential of that, like,
Right.
making your mark on a world where you have a a place in history because you've interjected a certain frequency that will live on forever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
Yeah.
so songs like that, when I went and listened to it, so I just had to touch on her, the Michelle Trachtenberg.
Absolutely.
I had to look her up. I've heard her name, but she's Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but she was younger then, because when I was looking
Mm-hmm.
at the older pictures, like you said, I was like, she looks familiar, but then when I started seeing some of the younger ones, I remember who she was.
Right.
So yeah, she had the well, you already said all that.
Yeah.
But then we got to get to my man. So I just want to touch on that. Well, I want to touch on Michelle, R.I.P., all the things, but I had to
Yeah.
I had
Rest
to
in peace,
interject my
Michelle
Roberta
and
Black,
Roberta.
because my
Absolutely.
point of that in that frequency is, when young girls now look back at this time, right? Like they're not gonna get that, right? Like there's a bunch that frequency was responsible for, with respect to how we were, how men were, how women were, like, men like myself, like, that was that's a dope chick that just isn't as present anymore like she used to be back in the day. So
That's very sweet.
just that time frame, like that was, the chicks you got, they was dope chicks, because we were more tapped into that, and we just don't get a chance to get that a lot today. So that's what she made me
Think
venture
of.
off to, and just her impact and being a part of that impact, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa. Gene Hackman, my man, my main man. Pause. Gene Hackman, it's funny. 95 years old,
95.
lived a very long life.
Right.
Um, he was born 10 years before my pops and was born 7 years before my mom's, respectively, and lived 6 years longer than pops and almost 4 years longer than mom's, respectively. So
Yeah.
you had a chance to really be on Earth. But yes, the suspicious. Um, she was 63. Them both being gone, and was there a dog too that was gone
A
too?
dog too.
Yeah, that
They had
just.
three dogs. Two
And
of
they were
them,
in
they
New
were fine.
Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah, three dogs, and then what happened to the other two? I didn't
They
see the
were
three dogs
fine.
part.
So that's why it couldn't be carbon monoxide. I didn't think it was carbon monoxide anyway. It just didn't sound right because I knew she was much younger. I know she was a pianist too as
Yeah,
well.
she's a
And
pianist.
at first I thought, because it's legal in California to take, what is that? What do you call that when you take your own life? And that's what I thought at first, that they had did that. So
But
yeah.
why?
Well, there is an age difference. I don't know. I don't know.
See, that's what I'm saying.
That's,
I don't know. I
wait.
don't know.
We're gonna
I
have
don't
to wait,
know.
but it is definitely something's not right.
Yeah, something's not right.
Yeah,
But
something's
like
not right.
he was 95, she was 63. So he was 61 when they met. and she was 30
30.
when they met. Good on you, Gene. Hey man, listen here. Hey brother, good on you. You know,
Right.
but I just wanted to give some really kind of shit because Gene Hackman was my guy. Again, pause. But movies,
Mississippi Burning.
Mississippi Burning. Hey, I'm gonna come back to Mississippi Burning. Mississippi Burning, Unforgiven,
Mm-hmm.
Enemy of the State,
Enemy of the State.
Hoosiers,
Hoosiers, yeah.
Crimson Tide, one of
Crimson
my
Tide.
absolute all-time faves with him
Yeah.
and Denzel, and Superman.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He was Lex Luger. I think Lex Luthor. I think he might even got nominated for that role. And when you look back,
He
he
was
does
Oscar. Yeah,
kill.
he was Oscar winner. Yeah. So
Yeah, he kills that role.
mhm.
He kills that role. So Gene was one of my guys. You know, so I just wanted to, you know, as actors and entertainers that we are, you know, we always that's one of the things that are always gonna stick out for us is the you know,
The
and we're
work.
talking countless movies, right? He's done tons
Yeah.
and tons and
Yeah.
tons. But you know, a lot of these movies, oh, Mississippi Burning, that's what I was gonna say. I'm gonna say one thing. One of the jokes, see, this is being able to look at things and still have a sense of humor about it. One of the funniest things in a movie is a line from Mississippi Burning. It wasn't Gene Hackman. They asked the cop a question, and this is like when the NAACP was just getting going. You know, it's like in the early days of the NAACP. And so he asked the crooked cop, hey, what do you think about the NAACP and whatever? He said, I don't think nothing about. I'm totally paraphrasing, but the phrase I'm saying that I'm about to say is what he said. He said, I don't really care about them. They talk about NAACP. Oh, he said NAACP. They say it's the natural allegiance. God dang it! How am I missing? How am I missing the NAACP? That's crazy.
Somebody drop a comment. Tell us what it is.
I
Somebody.
know that's crazy, but it's
Yeah.
the natural allegiance American colored people. I think that's what it is. The natural allegiance of American colored people,
Yeah.
NAACP. So he said, and I could be wrong, but I think that's what it is. He said NAACP, natural allegiance of American colored people. Yeah. Well, I got another one. What NAACP stand for? For me, it stands for N words, alligators, apes, coons, and possums.
Please don't get us demonetized. There you go. Keep the C word out your mouth. Oh my God. You know,
I'm
I like
sorry, y'all. That was it's an awesome movie. The
it.
points, all the things
It
historically, hey, it's brother here, all that. But you know, hey, listen, hey, that was funny.
is so silly. Rest in peace
So
to all
anyway,
three of them, though. Rest in peace to all of them.
rest in peace, rest in peace, rest in peace.
Woo, Lord, let's talk about little baby.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He is
wow.
somehow caught up in a mess. He was
Well,
shooting a
somehow
music
he's
video.
involved. What'd you say?
He was shooting a music video, from what I understand,
Yep.
but he was in a neighborhood that was a different set. And somehow firing was going back and forth. And this one of the 13-year-old just had a birthday. He wasn't even 13-year-old for 24 minutes, ended up getting shot. And obviously being killed. Two of them, two 13-year-olds, but one had just turned 13, from what I understand. So this is really
Um, you know,
it's a lot of pieces missing to the story from what I'm hearing so far.
well, from what I gather, it was so the seven people have been arrested.
Mm-hmm.
Not one of them was Lil Baby, but seems to be something involved. He was shooting a music video in a
Right.
rival territory.
Right.
Um, and when the shooting broke out, Lamont Freeman, 13-year-old, who literally just, I think it was 27
Yeah.
minutes. He
Poor
was
kid.
13 for 27 minutes.
Yeah.
And pronounced dead at the scene. 12-year-old Jacody Davis succumbed to his injuries after being transported to Eggleston Hospital, and then 11-year-old Dontavius Davis survived with a gunshot wound to his foot.
Mm-hmm.
So I say all that to say, I don't know what the answer is, but I can say this. I don't know how this looks. I don't know what this looks. I have no idea what to tell, how to tell people to do whatever.
Yeah.
But I can say this. For the cause that we are really, because it's really on right now, y'all. Now, this did happen in July of 2024.
Right.
Let's lend some context to this. Um, but where's the outrage? There should be outrage.
The three kids, yeah, that
Yeah,
young.
there should be outrage,
It
and I'm
should be.
talking about from us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like this is a heat. This is a. Do
That
you
was
know what
my
this
child.
moment
It
is?
would be. Yeah.
This is a moment. Like, hey man, get these cameras up out of here, man. We got work to do. We'll get back to y'all. Like, we need to at least have, like, none of that exists in our communities anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, because we always run to the cameras. Like, something like this happens. This is a moment where, in a perfect world, now mind you, I am on some real live Wakanda Forever type stuff in my fantasy and what I'm talking about. I
Mhm.
know that that's not what's happening, and I know people have their own thoughts about that. But for the sake of the cause, it would be cool if there was an entity in place that's like, yo, man, get these cameras up out of here, man. We gotta, this is outrageous. And this revolution will not be televised. It'll only be televised by us. Like, we need to, I don't know what that answer is within that, mind you. I don't know what that answer is. I don't know how that looks. All I can do is be an artist and give my visions of just and contribute in my artistic way, in my verbal way, in any way that I can. I do not have all those answers yet, but I can say, if we're not going to be outraged about us, who is? Because I promise you nobody else is.
Yeah.
If we don't see the urgency in us, who is? Because I promise you nobody else is. I understand. Hey, listen, I was making this joke as I was, like, just going through the details of this, having this same conversation with y'all that I had with myself, literally regurgitating the conversation I just had with myself, because I don't know what the answers are, but I do know some ways, psychologically, that we can shift our mindset when it comes towards each other that can start to lead us on the right path. Right? Like, I was having a conversation with my barber yesterday, and we was talking about this because we always talk about this. This always comes up in one of our conversations as far as the state of black folk. And I forgot what it was he said, and I was like, yeah, but we can't even. I said, but yeah, but we ain't gonna do that. He was like, yeah. He's like, we're not gonna do that. We can't even unify.
Well, we're
And the
supposed
way
to
that
do a
he said,
blackout. A blackout is
huh?
supposed to happen tomorrow, right? Is there a
A
national
blackout for.
blackout? Targeting the stores. I think that starts. So there. I mean, I've been getting text messages.
I didn't hear about that. Yeah.
Oh, it's been on the news. We talked about it.
No,
We
we
talked
did. No,
about
no, no, we
it.
did. But what I'm saying is, um,
See if I can find
keep that up. And with respect to us, whoever got the coin, whoever will be listened to, whatever, that's got to be a foundation of the conversation. Whoever does, hey, I say it in a line. Hey, for all of y'all that sit above us, get us pool out here. Remove the cover so we all could be some bulls out here. We the soul out here, the heart beating, the rhythm. The actions that deplete
yeah.
our numbers, we should cease and desist them. I will give you more, but it's coming. Don't worry about it. But I'm saying we need to, um, it's important for us to continue to engage in activities that will highlight how dope we are. It does not mean it's going to be kumbaya all the time. It doesn't mean any of that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't fight. I'm just saying redirect the reason and why you fight.
So just so you,
And it doesn't mean it's going to be perfect at all. I'm not even fronting on no kumbaya stuff. Hell, there's a lot of, hey, I want to say the word and get on my, there's a lot of, I don't like either. Like, let's keep it a thou wow.
right.
But at the end of the day, I'm going to look at that person and be like, okay, I at least got that respect from you, and we'll go from there. That might be the only respect I have from you. I might have to slap you in the face or something. I'm just teasing or whatever, but I'm just saying. But we just we need to re-engage in the thought process that'll at least give us that benefit of the doubt. And a lot of times, I mean, it's just that's just hard. I'm sorry. That just hits me a certain way because I just don't like seeing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and there's just too many times where it's happening and we don't have the numbers to continue this up. That's pretty much what I'm saying. So
Yeah. So rest in peace. Obviously, these little two angels, we lost them last year, but we didn't hear much about it. And now we're hearing more about it. We got to protect our boys. We got to protect our younger girls. But
man,
talking about that, there is a total economic blackout, emails, text messages. I've been getting them left and right. I've been seeing posts tomorrow, February 28th. Also, March the 7th through the 14th, an Amazon boycott, March the 21st through the 28th, a Nestle, April the 7th through the 14th, a Walmart B, and then April the 18th, a total economic blackout. That's the second one. And then April 21st to 28th, a General Mills. So they are going around, but I do know
okay,
that there
yeah.
is one
Shoot, if you
tomorrow.
have that, please send that to me.
Yeah,
I'll
we
put that
we
on the calendar for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, we do that. So, guys, a lot of people are talking about Doechii is copying Nicki. I will have to tell you, the first time that I heard Doechii, the rapper, I couldn't stop listening to her. I probably listened to her for like an hour. And I have to tell you, when I listened to her for the hour, I never thought of Nicki Minaj. I thought, who is this girl? That she got somebody 30 years older than her. At least I'm 20 something plus years older than this girl, loving what she does. And I didn't think of Nicki Minaj. So I cannot say she's copying Nicki. I know people are saying that, but do understand that we all influence everyone. Roberta Flack, and she influenced me. Luther Vandross influences me. Janet Jackson, we all influence people in some type of way, but that doesn't mean we're being them. And I have to tell you, I never thought of Nicki Minaj when I listened to Doechii at all. But I
I
do see
didn't
some
think of her.
similarities now that people say. I can see some similarities now, but when I first listened to her, I didn't think of that at all.
I didn't think of her. I didn't think that Nicki Minaj didn't come to my mind at all when I was listening to her. But after hearing that, I can see that the inflections and whatever,
Yeah,
I didn't think of that. I listened to her album, like the latest album, that won the Grammy. It's dope. I like it. I'm not mad at it at all.
yeah,
Um, you know, she brings a different flavor to it. I like that. And secondly, to keep it a thou wow, back to what I was kind of saying earlier, for the newer female artists, Doechie's like 25, 26, 27, something like that.
yeah,
What's Nicki? Like 44,
yeah,
43? And Nicki was doing it at about that age. Like, when did Nicki really jump on? Oh nine. So if she's 44, was that 15 years ago? So she was like 29 when she really jumped on. Like, and when Nicki jumped on, she jumped on.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So for a lot of the young, she's 25. At the time Nicki jumped on, she was probably 9, 10, 11.
Right.
That's going to be a huge influence. She's a huge influence for all of them.
Yeah,
Even a lot of them she's had run-in with. And
yeah,
I ain't got to be messy like that, but y'all know she's had run-in with a few people. She's had
yeah,
run-in with, Megan, her Cardi B. I don't know all the reasons why and all the things. I just know she's had, disagreements with them and X, Y, and Z. Well, the reality of it is, as dope as, whatever, the reality of it is she's influenced them too.
yeah,
Let's just keep it at that wow. And one thing I will say about Nicki, um, that a lot of hip hop purists, even myself at sometimes, may not put her in a certain, as far as being a purist.
mm-hmm.
Um, so, when you're a purist, sometimes you look at things like, I don't know if he or she belongs, from a purist standpoint.
Yeah,
But, even in that, a lot of people, from a pure standpoint, may discredit Nikki because the influence was the sexy and the, butts and the, and the things and the all that stuff and the short shorts and the, all the things and all the weave and all the, what I'm saying, all the things, right? All the oogle things. Even though that was the presentation and all that, I will, as a barsmith myself, one thing I can say though, Nikki do be coming with them bars. Now, a lot of the songs may not be what, like a fella might not be rolling around bumping Nicki Minaj the same way that a female is. But what I am saying is when she has stepped in the arena with a lot of people who are barsmiths, she has absolutely been on pace in a lot of ways, and I respect that. And it's not just about the, the clapping my cheeks stuff either. Like she'll
Right,
get on some straight bar work.
right, right.
Monster on Kanye's album with her, Kanye, Jay-Z, and Rick Ross. She lightweight won that and closed the show on the song too. So I will give. So I'm saying that to say, at some point in time, you guys were all influenced by her. Just like Lisa said, you were influenced by everybody. So if you're influenced by everybody, no matter how big or small, no matter how well or unknown, we're all influenced by everybody. The people that are known just have a better chance of influencing you because you're going to hear their stuff all the time. You guys heard Nicki's stuff all the time, and Nicki stepped in that lane. You know what I'm saying? Like, and again, what I will give her, a lot of people come with but Nikki's she cares about that bar work, and I, as a barsmith, I do respect that. So I
Absolutely.
didn't hear it. To go back to that, after it's said, I can see certain inflections and whatever, whatever. But
Yeah.
Nicki Minaj didn't come to my mind at all. I think they're two completely different artists. But
Absolutely. So
yeah,
Latasha Scott from the group Escape dropped a 1 minute, I think, and 54-second little mini song to Chris Brown's residual track. And she talked about her marriage, talked about, not speaking with her sister, talked about getting kicked out of the group Escape. Obviously we all know Tasha can blow. I mean, she can sing anything, and make it sound good. She has a beautiful voice and she did an amazing job with it. But they called her sister to ask Tamika about it, and Tamika basically, in a nice way, she said, obviously my sister can sing, but also, my sister's good at marketing, in so many words, my sister's using this for marketing to lead up to her album, which we all do to a certain degree, right? From
yeah.
an artist standpoint
I'm
or
wondering what the
whatever.
problem is. What's the
But it was
problem?
a very heartfelt song, and every word she was saying, I think anybody could relate to it. Like she said, sometimes S happens in family and we need space in order for it to clear out. But her sister said, but you got my number. I'm cooking breakfast right now. Pull up. So, in other words, saying if you really want to talk to me, you could have done that already, right?
Mm.
She kept saying, pull up, come on over right now. She said she was at a party that their family was having. And she said Latasha walked in with her mother. And when they saw her on the dance floor, they walked out. They walked out. And she said, if
So the mother isn't speaking to Tamika either.
Sounds like it. Yeah, because it seems like the mom knew about it. Because if you remember with the reality show, I need to get a battery to charge my phone. With the reality show, Tamika had blew up and got really upset at her mom too. I remember that part because I never saw Tamika that upset. And she was like, and you knew about it, mom. You knew about it. So it just seems like there's a lot going on in families and guys. I mean, I've said this and I'll say it too. I just talked about it when I talked about Biggie Small's mom. We have got to fix these issues, guys. Stop taking your family for granted. Pick up the phone and call people. Pick up the phone and call, right? Because you may not get that chance to explain your side of the story. And everything is not about marketing. Sometimes we need to put that crap to the side and really, really have those strong conversations and those talks. So
Yeah, yeah,
hopefully they can work things out. Yeah.
yeah.
Should we keep on going?
Let's roll.
All right, Karen Hooger will be going to jail for 1 year. Karen Hooger is from the Real Housewives of Potomac. I take that very personal. If you guys don't know, I am born in DC, and then about 12, 13, my mom moved us to Maryland. And then when I became an adult, I moved to Virginia. So I tell people I'm truly from the DMV, but really born and raised in Washington, DC and Maryland. That's where a lot of I've spent my time, went to school, and all those types of things. So the Real Housewives of Potomac is very personal for me because I want the women that in that area to win. And it's unfortunate. This was Karen's fourth charge that she was brought up on, and it's sad to just see her go behind bars. And I'm going to tie this in with there was that gospel singer too, Leandria Johnson, also was arrested for public intoxication. So I'm going to put these two together, guys. Just understand, it's easy to say she shouldn't be doing this. She could kill somebody, and you're right. Thank God she ran into a tree and not into somebody. But every addiction is deeply rooted into pain. And just remember, any addiction is deeply rooted into pain. And I'm again going back to what's our quote? Our quote is life is a session of lessons which must be lived to be understood. I'm speaking to you from a life coach perspective, also from a person that had gained weight because of pain. So when people are drinking, it's not because they're like, oh, I just want to do this, or no, I just want to. It's pain that they're just trying to muddle. And people like myself and other people, we can maybe rise out of that grave and fix it and get help. Everybody is not that strong. Everybody's DNA is not wired the same. And so I would encourage you when you see people that are struggling, like Leandria, who I just think her and Kiki Wyatt is another, they are some of the most powerful singers on the world, next to Tamar Braxton, Yolanda Adams. We got to pray and we got to try to get help for these women, because obviously there's some pain there. Because it's happened with Leandria. It's happened with her before too as well. And so my heart breaks for these women because I know what's deeply rooted underneath that.
Yeah. Yes. If you are not careful, the thing about it is anybody can get it. When it comes to that, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Anybody can get it. Nobody's exempt from it.
Yeah.
Like anybody can get it. Whatever that is, that kind of addiction is, anybody can get it. No one's exempt from it. And it all stems from there's something that you think you're trying to escape, but actually permeates and makes itself more present when you go to the thing that you think you are using to try and escape the thing you're trying to escape. It actually makes it more visible, right? It actually gets bigger as you do it. That's why you have people, that are like, a lot of people when you get around them, like there's a lot of people when you get around them when they start drinking, they're not the fun drunk. They're the mad drunk. They're the angry drunk.
Yeah.
They're not the, and even if they are the fun drunk in presentation, it usually doesn't work out that way. You know what I'm saying? Like it usually doesn't work out that way. Usually works out where these behaviors start to show themselves, and now because you do not have the coping skills to confront those behaviors in a way that keeps you in check, now you are continuing to spiral.
Yeah.
I'm talking about close people that I know that have been around me. I am talking about myself if I did not confront myself a certain way, which is why I use that phrase specifically, because there's a lot when you're holding yourself accountable and you're trying not to spiral a certain way, there's a lot that you could do that can mess it up. In a lot of the situations, when I've had to, over the last few years, had to deal with a lot of loss and all those kinds of things, I was very meticulous in how I was doing things. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't drinking a whole lot. I wasn't doing a whole lot. You know, wasn't doing a whole lot because I had to be very cognizant of how I was coping, not only with myself, but those around me, right? And that can beat anybody if you're not prepared. Just certain people are educated on how to hide it better. That's the only difference. But it will show its head.
Yeah.
Trust me. Don't take, and if you're in tuned, it doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take, if you stay in tune with yourself,
yeah,
it doesn't take, it's kind of like what I was talking earlier when we was talking all the, hey, why you feel this way? Well, it's right here. If you stay in tune with yourself, if you're around those or in situations that trigger you a certain way, you're just going to have to minimize them.
Right. Right.
That's it. Just like what you say earlier, you can't buy X, Y, and Z because, or you had to move your drink or all the stuff because otherwise it's the same way.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Trigger.
There's close people that I don't like. That is, it's a personal thing, but even in that personal thing, this is business. It's not personal. Like I had to explain that to a friend of mine when I'm like, yo, man, every time I'm gonna talk to you, man, it's always some kind of stuff. Right. And then you be putting that stuff on me because you have unresolved. And then me and you got to be arguing and stuff on the phone. I'm not with that. Like that's not, I don't choose that.
Right.
So I love you no less.
Right.
I love you. I still love you the same way I always have.
Right.
I'm just going to go do this.
Right.
So that's business. That ain't personal. That's the business of me being the best version of me because I am a business. She is a business. We are all a business.
Right.
They sound a certain way, but if you really look at it that way, you are your best employer.
Yeah.
Straight up. No matter what you do, whether you work for yourself or you work for someone else, you are your best employer.
Absolutely.
So that, as far as keeping and things that I want to do, heights that I want to reach, I need certain vibrations around me. I can't really have that around me. I love you, dog. Like I got your back. I love you. I'm just going to go do this.
Absolutely.
That's a business decision. That is so not personal. I've tried to explain that to people. A lot of times they don't get it, but it's so true. That's a business decision. That's not personal. I ain't got to, we ain't got to not talk and I got to be out here talk. In fact, anytime somebody asks me about, hey, what about such and such? Man, I love that cat. You talk to her? Nah. You talk to her? Nah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Nah. Not really serving the direction that things are traveling in.
Absolutely.
But it doesn't mean I ain't got a bad mouth. I just, that again, we talk about decisions, right? You've heard me say decisions. Yeah. That's just a decision I'm making. That's a business decision, not personal. So I'm saying that to say those kinds of things we got to get mindful of. Otherwise, this is how this happens. It's a very human thing. It's not a color thing. It's a very human thing. So like Lisa said, you just got to pay attention because otherwise you have to have, I empathize with people like that. No matter how I may not deal with, I empathize, especially in these situations. I empathize because, man, I'm grateful enough to not be in that situation. I cannot imagine not being able to escape that, right? Where 4 times you've gotten arrested because you just can't escape it.
You just,
it's
got the best of you. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I got empathy for that. Mm-hmm. I ain't messing with that. I ain't doing none of that. I ain't, all the things.
Right.
But I'm grateful I'm not in that position. Because that is not a fun way to live, to always have to check, there's a certain part of you that you just cannot, you cannot keep under wraps.
Yeah. And you're a celebrity. So now you wouldn't be embarrassed like that, right? So that's when it's out of control.
That's unfortunate.
Because they wouldn't want to be embarrassed like that. And that's what I'm trying to get people to see. Do you really think Karen or Leandria would want to be out, but they can't control it, obviously, to a certain degree, right?
Right.
So it's just unfortunate. So you bring so guys, I just want you to know, I know people do dry January. I'm actually gonna do dry March. So that's why I'm trying to get my little twinkle twinkle in before because I'm gonna do um dry March. The one thing I do love our president for, he doesn't drink. He doesn't drink. I know for people who are like, oh, shut up, Lisa, we're not trying to hear it, but he doesn't drink. And he lost his brother, I think, right, in a car accident or something like that. And I think it had to do with alcohol or whatever.
It's possible.
I think so. And so he doesn't drink, but I'm gonna just do the dry March just to see how I feel. I've never been a big drinker, but let me tell you, when you become a flight attendant, you become a big drinker.
Hey, listen, I
Every
can't lie
layover,
because Lisa,
where are
Lisa
we
is,
going?
yeah, she's never really has been a big drinker, but I can't
No.
lie. I like the little spice in you when you get a little cup in you. I can't even lie. I do. I like the little spice, the little edge it
Yeah, I'm
brings.
telling you, my liver that probably got so bad since I became a flight attendant.
I
But
like
I
the
have a
little edge
big
it
project
brings.
coming up. A lot of people know about, and so my team, we are beyond busy. Ace could probably tell you guys I shouldn't even be doing the show right now.
No,
I
I
should be
didn't know she was going
sleeping
to.
right now. But you know, sometimes you got to be willing to do what others are not willing to do to get what you want. And so I'm going to do dry March so that I can feel my best as I head towards something really, really big. And before I even get to the big goal, there's a lot of things my team and all of us are kind of working on. Even the comedy skits that you see Ace and us doing, it's all for a purpose leading up to something really grand that we can't wait to share with you. But save the date, July 26th. More information is coming. So let's talk about this next story. Cardi B is awarded 1.2 million versus the 4 million that Tasha K owed her. From what I understand, Tasha K will pay her $15,000 a month, I believe. I hope I got that right. I watched a little bit of Tasha K today. She had her lawyer on there, and it's so funny because she was talking about some of the same points we talked about regarding bankruptcy and how we look at it. But you know, I watched Tasha K when YouTube was very new and she was just starting out. And I have to say, even though I love Cardi B too as well, when you've seen a woman work her way up to what Tasha K has now, um, I was happy that she didn't lose everything because I saw Tasha grind and grind over the years and grind and grind and grind. Um, and just has done so well for herself. And I'm not negating what she did to Cardi, and obviously she had to learn a valuable lesson. But what I didn't want to see her do was lose everything because again, I'm one of the ones who used to watch her years ago and have watched her throughout the years. You know, build this empire, and you just hate to see somebody lose everything from a mistake, a human error. It happens to all of us. That money, them checks come in. You keep pushing the envelope to where you push the envelope too far. So I'm happy that there was a settlement made. And she has an agreement, and you know, and she'll be able to just pay this debt off and just move on with her life and just continue to grow her business. So kudos to Tasha K for that.
Yep. Um, yeah, it was well, I know it was a defamation case, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was bad. It was, she said some inappropriate things about, you know, Cardi.
Yeah.
It was pretty
Yeah.
bad. Yeah,
Yeah. We can
it was pretty
yeah.
bad.
It's yeah, it's just you know,
And it
she
hurt her,
said
you
some things
know.
about Cardi. Cardi sued her, won some bread, and the bread that she won nowhere near compares to the bread that Tasha lost. That's the unfortunate part about it.
Yeah.
You got to do what you got to do. I'm not saying who's right or who's wrong. I'm just saying I don't know what Tasha K's bank account looks like, so I am not by any means checking her pockets. I have no idea X,
Right.
Y, and Z. I'm just, if I understand correctly, considering the amount of money Cardi B has made, The 1.2 for Tasha K would probably, if I had to guess, I could be wrong. I don't mean no disrespect, but if I had to guess, the 1.2 is going to be way more hurtful than, you know, like what Cardi would, the 1.2 wasn't going to make or break Cardi. That 1.2 could
Right.
put some damage in Tasha's
Well,
pocket.
that four did. That's why they got it down.
That's why they got it
Get
down. That's what
get
I'm saying.
down.
And even
Yeah.
still, that 1.2 is gonna put a damage in her pot. Like I said, if Cardi B got it or not, it was a Cardi B suitor because she was like, I ain't
It was
gonna
a
have you.
lesson. Yeah, it was a
Yeah,
lesson
it's
more
like you.
than
I ain't gonna have you out here
defamation.
defaming my character, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna sue you, and anybody else that does, I'm gonna sue them too. I'm in a position to do so. I have the attorney firepower. I have the connections. I have all the things. I am completely corporate from that standpoint. I'm not about to have you out here slandering my name. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and
why
it's
she did
happening.
that.
I think Meg Thee Stallion is about to sue somebody else too. So, we gotta be careful. I think if it's anything, Cardi B and Tasha K case will go down in history. Like it's okay to give our opinions and stuff, but you got to be careful when it comes to defamation or putting people down, because these people are human and we all do have lives and stuff like that. So we do want to be mindful in what we do. So Kiki Wyatt, I talked about her earlier about being one of the best singers, and I don't know how this woman looks the way she does, having 10 children. And I mean,
And
voice
damn,
just amazing. But her ex, I don't know if you saw a little bit of the interview. I was able to catch a little bit of it on Storm Monroe. Shout out to Storm Monroe. That's another one I've been watching for a long time because he used to work with Tasha K back in the day before they actually fell out. But I saw a little bit of his interview on Storm Show, and he just was saying a lot of stuff about her kids and things, and I stopped watching it just because I just thought, what man, there's something to say about Devon Franklin and Megan Good. When they broke up, you heard nothing.
yeah.
You heard nothing.
I mean, that's just
You just,
I'm just not gonna I personally I'm just not doing that. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like I'm not if I made a decision to be with you in a certain way, I'm not going to do that. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? Like if I
yeah,
made the decision and if you made a decision to be with somebody in a certain way and you can do that, then we need to do better as a collective at um making us a little more disciplined in the choices we make.
so
Right? If
true.
you can choose somebody. Now, that doesn't mean that you get it right, doesn't mean we're not human, doesn't mean you can't
Right,
get duped, all the things, right? You get with somebody, who knows, heck, 3 4 years they can whatever.
right,
But if you're just going out talking about her kids and stuff and you're like proactively just you know whatever
yeah,
without all that, like like if she did you wrong, stole your money, had affairs with your best friend, slapped your mama, if she did all that, then yeah, she deserves the smoke. But if it's just kind of like you guys ended and a lot of times I think in situations it'll end, and then as a result of it ending, then feels like you guys got to be like enemies or something. Where, like
right,
you said, like Devon and Megan Good, nah. If I made the decision to be with you a certain way, we ain't rocking no more like that. But I ain't got to be out here. I ain't got to
bashing
cheat
you.
you to beat you. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like
yeah,
I made a decision to be with you. At the end of the day, regardless whether you realize it or not, this goes for men and women. When you're super bashing the last person you were with, and there's no context of your accountability in that, no matter how wrong they did you, right? If you have no context of accountability, and when you're sharing your story
yeah,
about how wrong they did you, for
yeah,
us to really learn from, because you admitting accountability, even in that situation, it paints it differently, because then you're
yeah,
empowering the listener, right? Because
yeah,
then now they know what to not to do, or things to avoid that might put you in a situation
yeah,
where these scandalous things won't happen to you. But if you're not making those decisions in that context, then that's not even the road I was going down. I was going down a different road. But my
You-
point is,
yeah,
I want to rewind and hear what I was saying because I would snap back. But my point is I'm not gonna. I'm just not gonna. If it's a reflection of you when you are bashing, that's what I was saying. It's a reflection of you when you're bashing the person you're with and there's no context of accountability. If you're just bashing a person and this person was so terrible, whether you realize it or not, that is a reflection on you. You know
It,
what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like, I personally, I can speak for myself. I ain't about to be having nobody, whether I'm with them or not. You know what I'm saying? Any
yeah,
person I was with or wasn't with, you run
yeah,
across them, I'm not about to have nobody on my arm and this is mine, and then we're not together, and then I'm doing all this stuff in
yeah.
public.
Right.
That's a reflection on me. At the end of the day, I'm the one who made the decision to be with her. So if I'm airing out my story for people to learn from, and this is what happened, and this is all the things, hey, the last situation I was in, not my one now, it's the best situation I've ever been in. But the
Right.
last situation previously
Right.
didn't end well, right? And there was a lot of things that weren't really done favorable to me
Yeah.
in that process. But I had a whole bunch to do on how we got there. See what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it don't change.
Yeah.
No, no. At the end of the day, all right, man, you got it. I ain't rocking with you no more. I'm taking my ball. I'm going home. I'm getting up out of here. This is not, you can have
Yeah.
this whole playground. You know what I'm saying? I am taking my ball. Which way are you going? You going this way? I'm going the
Right.
exact opposite way.
Yeah.
And in that, I'm just leaving that where that's at. I'm not out here bashing. Lisa knows
Right.
exactly who I'm talking about.
Right.
I'm not out here bashing. I revere her more in compliments than anything because you're back over there. I'm not, you feel what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
ain't really gotta, I made the decision to be with you. I'm not, otherwise I wouldn't have. And if I'm just over here bashing and doing all this, you may think it's pointing you in a picture, and people might say that it's making you look a certain way to benefit from you. So yeah, keep talking that stuff, keep doing all that. We'll keep interviewing you, we'll keep
Yeah.
giving you little monies, but that's raising our ratings. They may tell you that they
Yeah.
want to hear that story to benefit them,
Right.
but at the end, that's not making you look the best because you're the one who made the decision to be with this person, especially if you've known him for a long time. So I'm saying all that to say, I
Yeah.
don't know Kiki Wyatt's ex situation. I don't know what happened,
Right.
but just the little bit that I got from it, it just kind of seemed like he was. I don't know. I don't know,
Well,
but I don't know. I'm not dissing. I'm just
yeah.
saying.
Well, here's the thing with Kiki Wyatt. There's three things I know about Kiki Wyatt. She can sing, she got a
Yes,
lot
she
of
can.
babies, and she got a lot of ex-husbands. And I'm not being funny. That just if you ask me about, I mean, I don't ever hear Kiki out here bad mouthing people. She loves her children. She's not, she could have made many choices and had her children, but she's one woman that says, no, I'm gonna bring my babies into fruition. I'm not going to not have my kids, which a lot of people
Damn.
do. They don't always take their babies to the 9 month trimester, but she's one of them that takes her baby to the trimester. So I would tell people, if you are airing out information about your ex, I would ask you, why are you seeking validation from the public?
Yeah, good question.
Why do you don't need validation from people
Why?
that you don't know?
It does not
And
matter.
that's what I got from that, to the point I was like, Storm, I hope this view count for you, but I got to go and get off because I can't watch this anymore because I didn't see the accountability. If he was telling the story where it was 50-50, I played this part, but I was seeing more. And I was just hearing too many personal things about Kiki that I really just didn't want to know about her and her kids and taking money and all of these type of things. I just didn't want to hear that. Now, Kiki, I do know, but here's the thing he needs to remember too. Kiki has a past. We've seen Kiki blow up on the shows. We know about what Kiki did to one of her ex-husbands. So my thing is, I would say to him as a life coach, did you not see the full package before
Well,
you bought it?
yeah, I think that's kind of what I was. Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
you
That's what
did
I was
what
alluding
what
to.
did you expect?
Yeah, that's what
You
I was.
understand what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So if you're gonna
1000.
love this woman, love her in totality and not who you were trying to project and make her to be. Right?
Yeah,
She's not a weak woman, so you can't go in there trying to stronghold Kiki. The one thing we know, she's not a weak woman.
she's not. No, her past actions have proved that.
So,
Um,
but
yeah, no, I guess that was to wrap that up. That was kind of my thing. Like,
yeah,
yeah. What do you? You, hey, again, and I think that was my point. Like, you made the decision. I don't know what happened. Hey, everything
Yeah,
you're saying could be. Hey, listen, it could be like you said. She has a lot of kids, a lot of husbands. I don't know what was going on behind closed doors. What I do know is you knew what you was walking. You accepted the terms.
period. And she has
There it
a
is.
child that has a medical condition right now. Like, I can't even think about mentally the space I would even be in, having 10 children, a lot
Yeah.
of mental capacity, wanting men to love you, and it's not working out. And that's not to blame. Everybody got relationships that ain't working out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Don't blame yourself. It's happening to everybody in every race. So I just want to give a shout out. Everybody doing the Usher two-step, with Kendrick Lamar, but I'm telling you, Shamar,
Mhm.
did you see Shamar do it?
I
Shamar
saw
broke
it.
out with the uniform.
Yeah, they all
Da,
had the
da,
uniforms
da.
on. Yeah.
I just gotta get. They killed it. They killed it, Shamar. You did that
Yeah.
two-step, very
Nah,
creative.
that was a good two step.
That was one of the best ones I've seen. I really, really
That
like
was a
that.
good two
That was
step.
really, really good. So Neo. Oh, Neo. So Neil's being called out for adding another wife. So he has four in total. And the only thing that I want to say, I'm gonna speak to the woman, and I'll let you maybe speak to the men on this one. Or knowing you'll speak to both. I'm just gonna speak to the woman. Always know your value. Always know your self-worth. Um, and maybe it's a hustle for you, right? And I understand the hustle. I'm not down for that type of hustle because I'm not sharing mine with nobody. Um, but just make sure that you can look at yourself in the mirror every morning and be okay with that. Because when I see this situation, I'm just like, it's fair. Everybody knows the game. So there's nobody hearts being broken because everybody knows the rules. So that's fair. But then I also have to say, when is enough enough? When you talked about Roberta Flack, I feel like making love. They were like one on one back then. To you, not to you and you and you and you and you. You know what I mean? She was speaking to
Right.
that one person. The first time I saw your face killing me softly, we
Yeah.
when is enough enough? What is it that you
Um,
lack that you need for? I don't know, and I don't mean to judge you, Neil. I love you. I love you as a writer. I think you're one of the best writers, performers out there. But I have to, from my life coaching perspective, I would have to say, what's really going on? Is that what you want your daughter? I mean, yeah, I pass the baton because I love them too much. I don't want to go too
I'm
deep
gonna
on
give
them.
my guess. If I were in those shoes, just being me, and I'm sure this has some sort of resonance somewhere. Um, you have number four because between the three that you have, there is still something missing. Here's what I mean. So you might have a girl who is the best nurturer out of all of them. You might have a girl who's the best businesswoman out of all of them. You might have a girl who's the freakiest out of all of them. And you might have a girl who's just the most free spirit and down out of all of them. So you have four. Those are four hypothetical examples, but very realistic examples. Every
Right,
fellow watching this knows exactly what I'm talking about.
right, right,
That's just not in the one person. Um, the if I were Neo and that were my situation, I wouldn't. I don't. I mean, how did people find out that he had a fourth girlfriend?
oh, it
Like,
was pictures out there.
there's pictures of him with another woman.
Yeah, he
Like,
added another.
and
Yeah.
then that's his. But is that his fourth girlfriend, or is it because paparazzi saw him with a picture with another chick,
No,
and
it's
now
confirmed. He's
it's
very he,
confirmed?
he speaks, he's very proud about it. He's never like back down. When it was just three, he was very open and like I said, everybody knew the rules. So when everybody knows the rules, is I would prefer someone to do that than to cheat and people not know. So at least everybody knows the rules. So he's been very open with it. And I
So what I'm that
kind of
I
like
guess that
Monique and her husband. They've been very open too. But
that's what I'm saying. Like in that situation, he just hasn't. That's just part of the bill. I mean, you already know because For the four, there's others who didn't or wasn't or whatever. And it's an interesting thing you say, right? For the women, right? The one who called on to be the fourth one. It's an interesting decision, right? Decision has been a theme of this show, at least from me talking anyway. But that's an interesting decision. And
No,
your question uh, lends insight to that decision, right? Like, know your worth. Like, okay, well, what about you? Is this what? Then that begs the question. And what is this for you? Then, do you are you under the um are you under the possible misconception that you're going to turn this thing around and that he's going to eliminate the other theory and be with you? Is that what you're under? Is that what you're entering this in as? Or are you just like, this is my ticket in and I can be with Neo?
right,
Or do you just not care? It does lend validity to the question from a female standpoint, especially someone like yourself, because you would never do that. You would never be in that situation. So it does ask, well, what about this? Because it could be as deep or as shallow as possible. Maybe she
right.
just wants to be the fourth girlfriend. Maybe she ain't tripping. She knows she ain't gonna be with Neo. She'll just be the fourth girlfriend. They'll do their
Like I
thing,
said,
and
it could be
then
a hustle. Yeah,
yeah, it could be. There's and it could be an understood hustle too. Like Neo might know exactly where she fits,
right,
right? So it's just if he had someone who encompassed all those things, it's very likely he wouldn't have all four. Doesn't mean that they're not all four awesome chicks,
right,
right? But if there are blaring misses from the ones that you have and you're in a position to fill in the blanks, that's what he's doing.
yeah.
You're
I
in a
think,
position to fill in the blanks.
yeah,
You have the added bonus of being known, all the things, right? You can probably convince, certain women to agree to certain things. I'm not even saying it in a bad way. I'm just talking
mhm,
about as far as their decisions. You may have this woman who's making this decision based on whatever you've been able to show her that a lot of men might not have your resources to show her. So she's not going to say yes to that, right? Like
yeah, mm-mm,
it's a very interesting question. I say your question to her, woman to woman, is interesting. I'd be intrigued to know why she wanted to be the fourth wife. What is
yeah.
where about what made you say, okay, I'll be the fourth wife or the fourth girlfriend? Like, very
Absolutely.
interesting question. Like on a real level, I would like to hear her real answer to that. Don't
And
give me no fake stuff. Give me a real heartfelt answer on why you made that decision. That'd be an interesting conversation.
and the last thing I'll say before we go into aviation news, Neil, to your daughter, what if she had four husbands?
Very valid.
And I'll just leave you with that.
There it is.
If you knew that four men live with your daughter, would you be okay with that? And maybe you will. I don't know, but um, you have a responsibility, especially when you have a daughter, to, and I believe he does, if I'm not mistaken. I believe he has a daughter.
I believe
Um,
he does. If I'm not
to
mistaken, I couldn't
yeah, to
say
be
for
an
sure.
example of what she aims to look forward to. So that would be my only thing. But I think Neil also might be trying to not go down the path of cheating because he's cheated for so much. And so he's like, this is now I don't have to deal with that. But it's all he's also had to pay a price too. I remember when the woman was recording him and she was so derogatory to Neo. I mean, I felt bad. But this is what happens sometimes when you get yourselves in those type of situations. So anyway, guys, the aviation news. In aviation, there was a haze found in a Delta plane. The plane had to return to the airport. Also, United also had to divert due to engine failure. There's just each week, it just seems like there's something going on. And I know a lot of people are becoming very fearful of flying. Um, but I can just encourage you. You just got to continue to move forward. We all got to continue to move forward, stay prayed up, be safe, be observant of everything in airports, on a plane, everything you're doing. But these things do happen. A lot of these planes are older, and things do happen. But luckily, nobody was injured in both of those situations. So,
Luckily, nobody was injured in both of those situations. Um, I just leave this segment with a question, or better yet, a thought.
yeah,
Um, we've never had aviation news like this. Like every day, there's
yeah.
something going on in
Every
aviation
week
news.
we've had
So
to talk.
one of a couple things is happening. Again, this is one of those hidden in plain sight moments. Either this is a conspiracy, like something is going on, like how is it all of a sudden that this is happening? Either that's happening, or because of a lot of the a lot of the transportation workers in the higher levels
Mhm.
who have been let go, now maybe they don't have the personnel to catch what they would normally catch, which is probably why we're getting so many incidents. It's one of the two things.
Yeah,
And in either situation, we need to be paying attention,
absolutely.
one or the other, because there might not be enough workers who are able to catch these things,
Right.
right? Which could be why we're having more incidents.
Absolutely.
Or this is an intentional thing. Either way, we need to be paying attention. Again, this has nothing to do with anything. It's no color lines, no partisan lines. This is literally, again, I'm talking about what's happening.
Yeah.
And then re-engaging the common sense about us that we used to have to ask these questions, because these are questions we need to know, especially as Americans. I'm gonna get on that, and that's what I'm gonna say on that. We there's only that those are the only two options I can think of. So
Yeah. No.
either way, we need to be paying attention now, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, and before we get to sports, guys, there was a lady that went viral. I didn't even know she was viral. I just happened to see her video. I don't know if she did marketing on her video or something, but I definitely saw her video, and she was talking about herself being 57 and broke. I noticed lately a lot of people are living into their cars. There's just been this whole big thing with people living out of their cars and everything right now. But she wanted to be an actress, and she left her job, and she was offered a job in Atlanta, but she didn't want to take that job. She thought that job would get in the way of her having auditions. And I know that mindset. Me and Ace know that mindset better than most people, because we are actors and we both took on jobs that we knew would give us the flexibility to do what we love, doing. But we also did not work either. We knew that we
Yeah,
had
facts.
to work and invest in ourselves, because you got headshots, you got pictures, you have all these things. So the sad thing about the video is that she regretted her decision. And her story is very similar to mine. If anyone knows, I left my six-figure paying job, and it was a struggle for many years, but everything led me to where I am. I would have never went on tour with the Harlem Globetrotters had I not left my job.
Right,
You know what I mean? That's a dream job that many people wish they could have stepped in those shoes. I would have never performed at the Lincoln Theater had I not left my job, or
right.
the Athens Creative Theater. So there was so many wins for me that I wouldn't change anything. And then it all led me up to Delta, which is the dream job of the world. I mean, what job can you say you can go and do what you got to do and get off the plane and go home and not have to worry about anything else, right? I don't take corporate home anymore. I can get on
Right.
the plane and go to Japan in a minute second. So I have a dream job. So um I wish she wouldn't regret her decision, and I wish if I could talk to her to tell her you're exactly where you're supposed to be. If you choose to leave something in the past, leave it in the past. Don't regret it.
Yeah.
Leave it in the past. You're putting your own mental health in what's the word? Purgatory or
Purg-
something like that.
Purgatory.
Purgatory. You're putting your own mental health there. right? You left that job. Trust me, I wish I could be making the money like I used to make, right? But I have so much more of a balanced life now, though, that I didn't have when I was making all that money. So I would tell her, don't look back, look forward. Stop looking
Yeah,
back.
and just to jump on top of that, pause real quick. The This is easier said than done, but I can say this: you are the top 6 or 7% of the people in the world, in the sense that you really went for it. And I know it's easy to look back now, especially as 57 and broke. And hey, listen, we get it. Trust me,
Yeah,
you're talking to two people who get it. Looking at it, 57 and broke, and I wish I didn't make this decision and all that kind of stuff. And yes, there are regrets in that for sure. But I think it's very fair to say that there would be so much of a bigger regret if you were okay financially, but you never took the chance and now you're 57. I just think it's, speaking personally, right? Like, we are in front of your face as a testament to that. We just going we're gonna ensure that it happens this time. But
that's
like, we couldn't go out with all the great work that we did. And a lot of the people that are just seeing us now are just seeing us. We've been doing this and you're just seeing us. So, and there's a lot more people to see us,
right.
and in that, like when I moved from Sacramento down here, that's what I said. I said, listen, at the end of the day, because left a corporate job, decided to leave, got my severance, got up out of there, all the things. I could have stayed with the job for the sake of being safe,
Right.
but at the end of the day, it was my life to live. I was trying to get down here, music, the whole thing, acting, the whole thing. I got out here, immediately got in one of the best acting classes that are down here with one of the best people who works with everybody.
Right.
Um, if I would have just played it safe, and I didn't really have to at the time. I didn't have no kids. I didn't have no girl. My girl left me. You heard me talk about it earlier. My girl left me. Hey, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It was like, hey, it was now or never. I remember me and my dad having a long conversation about it, and he was against it. He's an old school cat. Hey man, go get your lesson. You can still do it, but you can still do it on your side.
Right.
But just keep the job, because he's from a different time, in the
Right.
standpoint of nothing was guaranteed. Like, going to school wasn't guaranteed. That's why
Right.
he was always telling us, you need to be up there getting your lesson. I don't want them people calling me about
Right.
nothing you're doing.
Right.
Like, it was a privilege for me. I had to pick cotton first before I went to school. School was secondary, work was first. You
Right.
live in a world where you could just not have to worry about nothing and go to school. So in that same breath, he wasn't, my mom was a little more hippie in her ways.
Right.
She was a little more like, yeah, son, I feel you. Pops was, military. Like, hey man, nah, what I'm saying? You need to get in there, get your work. You know what I'm saying? You got a steady paycheck, you got health benefits, and then you can still do your thing, just do it on the side. I'm like,
Right.
Pop, I've been doing it on the side. You know what I'm saying? And we were going back and forth. I remember I was still in the office.
Right.
I was having this conversation in the phone booth. You know what I'm talking about. I ain't gonna
Right.
name the name, but they had the phone booths up there. You know what I'm saying? Like on the
Right.
floors. I was in one of them phone booths. And me and Pops was going, and the way I got him was, I was like, because my parents, we grew up in the church, all that things. They were, very active members of their church. So I had to get real on them from that standpoint. I was like, look, I said, honestly, Pop, I said, I couldn't, I can't not do this. I feel like God, in some sort of way, I don't like to use these words and God in the same sentence, but I feel like I would like get punished for not doing this, for not going after literally what he gave me. I feel like I would, when it's time to go, I feel like I would get chastised for that. I feel like I would be letting him down.
Yeah.
And he couldn't say anything. He couldn't say that was it. Like, because that was the truth. So I'm
Right.
saying that to say to her, like, I think I could have easily I could have went the corporate route. I could have did all that. Lisa, like I said, was already killing the game on that. I could have easily did that, played the game, went, made, be in the $200,000 range.
Mhm.
But man, where I would be today, I already know me. Without doing any of that, it would be so unfulfilling. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, listen, at the time me and Lisa met, that's what I was doing. I was out there going for it. I had no money. I was so happy. I took a corporate job, was in there almost 8 years, and me and her talk about it all the time. And hey, you can't look back with regret even on that. But I feel like those 7 years, 7.5, almost 8 years that I put on the job, I feel like I lost time.
Right.
Like I feel like I could have been, if I would have used that 7.5, 8 years the way I was using it before I took the job. Oh
Right.
my God, I'd, I'd probably be one of the people on news affected by the Palisades fire. I mean, God rest. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just saying
Yeah.
that's where a cat would have elevated to. Like, I already know that. So it's like, I would just encourage and lovingly say to her, as far as the regret, I know it's tough. I have to tell one of my best friends this all the time because him and another one of my best friends went in on a business. They went all in
Mhm.
and it didn't work out. And so he looks at me with regret, like I wish I didn't, because now I was breaded before then and now I ain't got no bread and
Yeah.
X, Y, Z. And I'm like, I feel you. I said it's easier said than done, which is why I
Yeah.
started my whole soliloquy in saying that. But I do think the regret would be bigger, especially in an artistic standpoint, talking about her
Right.
being an actress. I just think the regret would be bigger if you didn't. I think when this is all said and done and we leave this place that doesn't really matter,
Mhm.
and when you really at the final stage, I think you're gonna get rewarded. At least that's the fantasy I like to believe. So I just think the regret when you're in your last moments and the life flashes before your eyes and you look back on it, I think you're gonna be like, at least I did it, because that's why we're doing this. That's real. Hey
Yeah.
man, whatever happens, a cat really went for it. She really went for it. We really trying to give you this smoke, and we gonna give you this smoke, and it's gonna work. But like, if we didn't, for the sake of Lisa could be making $377,000 right now if she really wanted to. Let's just keep it 1,000. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But she wouldn't be fulfilled when she was making all that money in the six figures. She wasn't fulfilled at all.
Yeah.
So
Luckily, I was able to perform. If you remember that, Verizon would let me do the kickoff stuff. So I
yeah,
was
I remember
still
that.
able to do some stuff, but I wasn't able to do it more like I'm able to do it now, And so you are missing a link. And so I think the last thing I would say to her, I hope I didn't interject too much. I would tell her, as an actor, you're constantly waiting for people approval. With social media, you have the power in your hands to create your own stuff. And I'll just leave it at that.
And there you go.
Talk about sports, what we got going on.
So sports, the Lakers are looking good. The
Yeah,
Luka
I saw
and
that game.
LeBron connection is building.
Mhm.
It can be. They do not have a big. They still need a big. However, I was talking to one of my good friends about this. They are very long pause, meaning they don't have the traditional big man, but everybody that hits the court is about 6'5", 6'6", 6'9", 6'10". Like, they're long, and with Luca being there and Austin Reeves emerging into his own, now LeBron doesn't have to do all that work. So
Right.
now, as a result, he's able to be a better defender. He's able to be a better shot caller. It can be a problem for a team trying to beat them 4 out of 7 games as we get to the playoffs. So that's what's that. The
Nice.
NFL Combine started today. Very interesting about the NFL Combine is everybody of those who are sports people. The NFL Combine is when they do all the measurables. So they measure your hands, they measure your feet, height, weight, how much
Hmm.
you can bench press, how fast you can run, how high you can jump, how far you can throw the ball, how good you can catch the ball, how much you can block, blocking drills, times in the 40. You're literally, it's funny, and I'm being funny, but it's real. It's literally like you're on the block to be sold if you follow me. It's just in a high paying way. Like, for
Right.
real. They're measuring all the, how big are your hands? How big are your, like, how much does he weigh? His height, how high can he jump? How
Right.
fast can he run? How much can he shuffle? It's really
Somebody
like,
did a movie on that, so I know what you're talking about.
hey dog, it's really,
Afro.
really
That's all
on that.
I'm saying.
It's really, really on that. And so the interesting thing about it is, in that a lot of players, NFL players, are opting not to do the combine
I
because they
heard
feel
that.
like it's over um uh they place too much importance on it.
Right.
And it's like, you're finding ways to eliminate me or things of that nature, right? It's like a system, it's systemic in how that can affect you, like
Right.
Lamar Jackson, if I'm not mistaken, who's the quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens, DMV stand up.
Mhm.
He's a quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens, and he did not do the combine. Dig this. And if I remember this correctly, and if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But if I recall correctly, he didn't do the
Sure.
combine
Hmm.
because he actually feared that his 40 time, which is the 40-yard dash time, he
Hmm.
thought his time was going to be too fast. And as a result of it being too fast, he didn't think they would let him play quarterback. He thought they would force him into a specialty position. It's very interesting. Nobody else, and I'll leave it at that. There are other people who don't ever have to worry about that. He
Right.
was worried he test too well and that they
Yeah.
wouldn't let him play quarterback.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of just kind of the implications of it and all that, a lot of players are opting not to because they feel like, hey, you've seen me in college, you see what I can do, either you
Right.
want me or you don't, instead of having to go through this rigorous step, which is nerve-wracking. And then you can be high on the draft board and then you can drop, you can raise in the draft board too. I mean, it's not like it's all negatives. You
Right.
can absolutely go to the combine, show out and all these things, but then what could happen is you show out at the combine, but then now you take the spot of somebody who might be better than you, right? So
Right.
it's all part of the kind of the, it's, but you can go show out too, though. That's the benefit of it. So anyway, that was just kind of an interesting thing because I like to look deeper to the headlines, and a lot of
Absolutely.
players have been
Absolutely.
talking about not doing it and kind of taking their power back. Like,
Right.
the power is ours, the power is not yours. So that's a very interesting little dynamic shift. So that's a good part of the sports news. Greg Popovich, he's not going to come back to coach this year. 76-year-old. All of us who we know Greg Popovich, one of the best ever, literally ever to do it. I like Greg Popovich. I like him as a coach. I haven't had the honor of meeting him, but every time I see him in an interview or something, Greg is
Yeah.
real deal. He's just a good, as a cat who grew up the son of a head coach. Like, I can see why all of the players played for him the way they did. I see why he
Absolutely.
was able to get out of the players he was able to get. And Greg about that stuff. Greg talk about it. Greg speak about it. Greg is a real dude. My dad used to go to a lot of these coaching conferences and stuff, right?
Hmm.
So he had a chance to meet a lot of these coaches, like Coach
Right.
Sesvi, Hubie Brown, Greg Popovich. And like, I remember him having really good words. He had really good words for Greg Popovich, and
Right.
he had really good words for Hubie Brown.
Right.
Just saying they were really cool stand-up guys. They talk with you, all the kinds of things. So just like I said, son of a basketball coach, I had to just shooting Greg Popovich some love. He had a stroke on November 2nd,
Mhm.
and he just hasn't quite recovered the way he
Yeah.
wants to yet. He's going to focus on his health. He's hope
Good
he's
for
still
him.
able to coach, but he's 76 years old. So just salute. I'm just sending whatever
Yeah.
I can to Greg because I mess with Greg. Greg's my guy. Pause.
Absolutely.
And then last but not least, Travis Kelsey looks like he's going to return to
He's
play
coming
football in 2025. I knew the
back.
ladies would be excited. That's the main reason I even included this because I knew the girls would go crazy. That was that. I know the ladies would be excited. The Swifties are excited. Travis is playing. He's going to play again.
Shake
So
it off.
ladies can
Shake
scream
it
and
off.
yeah, 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 yeah.
We're
And
excited.
so that's what we got for sports.
Nice, nice, guys. All right. So we're going to wrap it up with our improv challenge. So our scenario is we are in an office space and we are colleagues, and our word is we are discussing raise. And that's all it is. So let me put this timer on. We got 60 seconds, you guys. You got to let us know who
60
is
seconds to wreck.
winning this
Sacktown,
improv
60 seconds to wreck.
competition.
Sacktown, 60
Competition. So
seconds
again, the
to wreck.
scenario, we colleagues, our word is raise. We got 60 seconds. Go. Man, did you get your raise?
I better get my raise or they going to make me raise up and get
Dude,
upset.
I got 10 cents.
You
10
got 10
cents.
cents raise?
10 cents raise.
That's
For
going to have me.
365 days a year, I got 10 cents.
They gave you a 10-cent raise for 365. That makes me want to raise my hand and slap them
I
five.
don't know what I need to do though, dude. Like seriously, I'm really trying to stay calm. But like I'm 10 cents for as hard as I work. and they're like, oh, they're going to be cutting back and stuff like that. Like, I'm really pissed off right now. I got 10 cents.
You need to have a conversation about this raise, but just make sure that you don't raise your voice to the point where they ain't gonna hear your conversation. But you need to
That
tell
ain't
them
a
about that because
10
that
cent
10
ain't a
cents
raise
sucks.
though. 10 cent is a slap in the face. You
It's
think
a
because I
slap.
was up on that warning, you think that's why it was only 10 cents because I was on that warning?
Yeah, but there's people who've been in worse situations than you and got more than 10 cents, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, I need to check on that time. Guys, listen, get your coffee, get your tea, get
Get
your
your
love.
love.
First of all, guys, just thank you so much for watching. We really, really, really appreciate it from the bottom of our hearts. We do mean well. We're always trying to come from a positive space. I do create the Zen. He has a dopamine. He goes very deep, if you know what dopamine means.
Yeah.
But we both have hearts for the world and for humanity and things like that. But if there's something that you gotta say, hey, that's what the comment section
Holla,
is for.
holla at a
Okay. But
player. Holla at
subscribe
a
to our
player.
channels, like this, share this if it brings value.
Word up.
Most importantly, go into the weekend being your best self. Any
Word
plans?
up. Uh,
You going
I'm
out
gonna
of
go
town,
do
right?
me a little turnaround trip to Sac.
Hey.
I was that was part of that was supposed to be a surprise, but
Oh,
yeah, I'm gonna take a little turnaround trip.
okay. I won't say what I was about to say then because I don't want to give it. I won't give it
Yeah, part
away.
of that was so if they happen to watch, I don't want them to see. But I already done spilled the beans, but let me just they might not catch it.
Oh
But
my goodness. Well,
yeah, I gotta go tap in.
I
So
got you. I'll be
yeah.
busy this weekend. I got a training on Monday, so I have to go back into my college days and I got to cram and study and study and study. So I'll be busy studying this weekend and obviously working on my business as usual. So anyway, you
As
guys,
usual.
much love to you. We will see you next week. Same time every Friday morning, 9 o'clock. Don't forget another mother. Talk about it and let people know. We'll see y'all. We out. Bye.